at the table?
Yeah.
We're off and running because the tone of this election just keeps on getting nastier and weirder, and maybe that's why all anybody wanted to talk about or watch this weekend was Chewbacca Mom, who broke records
So funny.
on Facebook Live for cracking up while wearing the Chewbacca mask. She says with all the cynicism in the world right now, we probably need a good laugh. Do y'all feel like that? That we need a little bit more stuff to laugh at?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's so crazy because everyone was watching her tape this weekend, but I wasn't. I was busy running my kids around. So in the car this morning on the way here, I could not stop giggling and laughing, and it felt so good. Even the driver, Nelson, who was with me, starts laughing. He hadn't even seen it, and he said, my goodness, I really needed that today. It was so infectious.
Well, the thing is making everybody angry, too. What do you call it? The election. It's making people angry, and I'm sick of it. I'm really sick of looking at the two of them, what they have to say. And Bernie, too, I'm sick of all of them.
You want everything to just go away, right?
I want it to be over already.
There's nothing like a good belly laugh, like the kind of laugh you don't know why you're laughing, but you're laughing so hard that it produces tears. We talked to this woman on GMA, and she's like, it just caught her off guard. Yes, we talked to her, lovely woman. She's a mother. She got this mask, as a birthday present, and she just looked at herself in the mirror and couldn't stop laughing. Sometimes things just get to you, and you need that good belly laugh when it produces a tear.
Saturday Night Live has been funny.
It's true. I used to teach kids. I used to teach middle schoolers, and I was always happy. And the reason was that they were always laughing. Everything to them is funny. There is nothing serious. They de-stress you, and I think that was what this moment was. Because if you're not watching this crazy election, you're reading about terrorism. You're a single mom trying to put food on the table, working 2 and 3 jobs, and it just reminds you. Take a moment, be a kid. Life goes by so short.
It's funny. I had a friend who taught middle school. He didn't have that impression. He was,
I know. My mom taught middle school. I'm like, really?
It was like, one time he told me he stapled a kid to the seat. That was a while ago, a long time ago.
That's not a bad tactic.
But he didn't have that same exact thing. That they're so adorable.
Joy, don't try to get out of your seat because we may have stapled you as well. You're stuck. Okay.
So a Washington Post op-ed asks if the fact that Trump is not an empathetic candidate poses a problem. Now, is it supposed to be part of a president's demeanor to have some sort of empathy, or does he need to? Because does he or she need that in order to be able to support a country that's going through something as horrifying as Sandy Hook or any of the other things that comes up? Do you need empathy as a president to get through that?
So far, I don't see empathy in Donald Trump. He makes fun of handicapped people. He says about John McCain, well, he's not a real war hero because he was captured. I mean, after the Egypt airplane crash last week, the first tweet is, this is terrorism. Instead of, our empathy goes out with the people who lost loved ones. He has none of that. And I really wonder, where is he? Where is it? Well, you're going to vote for him, so what do you think?
Well, I would remind people of 2012.
She told us the other day
you said I couldn't do my write-in. She said, if you can't do a write-in and you have to pick one.
She said if there was a gun to your head, I believe is what she said.
That's how she phrased it.
She said she would vote for him.
So, she did. Thank you.
I don't think either of them are terribly empathetic, but I do.
You were not here on Friday.
Clearly.
And so what I said, let's just tell you what happened. I said, who are you going to vote for? And she said, I'm writing in Rand Paul. So I said, well, that's not a vote. That's not a vote.
It's a vote. It's standing up for principles.
It's just in your own head. Is that standing?
Important to me.
Yeah. But I said to her, if you had to vote between Trump and Hillary, who would you vote? She said Trump.
Well, look, on empathy, I think it is important. I think that's why Mitt Romney lost actually in 2012, because I think when he made these comments about the 47% or whatever he said, people didn't believe that he would actually stick up for them. I don't think either of these two candidates are empathetic. I think if you look back to Barack Obama in 2008. I think he was. I think people believed when he talked about the middle class, people believed he was going to help them. I think Ronald Reagan if you look back, won all of those Reagan Democrats because people believed him.
Then that's
so I
what's
think
so
it is
crazy
important.
that so many people want to vote for Donald Trump, especially people that are feeling this economic crunch.
Well,
I think empathy, but I think empathy is really, really important. It's something that I teach my children. I think it's something that that we want in everyone. There, but for the grace of God, go I. You need to be able to empathize. You need to be able to sympathize. And I remember when Sandy Hook happened in 2012, and our president was talking about all those children that lost their lives, and he started crying. I didn't think that was a sign of weakness. I thought it was a sign of strength. I thought it was a sign of empathy. And I would not want Donald Trump to be the president when Sandy Hook
Wait a second, I have to stand up for Hillary for a second because she has been working for the Children's Defense League her entire career.
Yes.
You look at her record, she's done a lot of things for the disenfranchised and for kids.
Yes.
Just because she's not somebody like her husband who says, I feel your pain. Remember that? She doesn't do it like that.
But I think
she does it in policy.
And yet we're talking still, we're battling.
What has Donald
we're talking
ever
about the
done
two
for
of them,
anybody?
And yet
He
there's
gave them a lot
still
of jobs, I'll tell you that.
And a
He
lot of
supported
bankruptcies, lost jobs too.
A lot of people will get on TV and say, I have a job because of that man.
I
so
haven't
you
seen
can,
that. Who are
they're
they?
all over the place. Look at his
He's a global
Ivanka
businessman.
has a job. Donald Jr. has
he
a
hires
job.
tons of people.
The other kid has a job. Melania has a jewelry line.
He's a global businessman.
Hundreds of thousands of people work for the
Thousands
man.
of employees across the globe, and yet we're talking about
He
still
says that.
two
Tremendous.
across the globe because he manufactures his clothes in China.
Yes, he does.
Right?
He takes advantage of the system.
Okay.
He takes advantage of the
He
system.
manufactures his clothing in China and employs people all around the globe, yet he's going to make America great again and give us all jobs. So,
Possibly, yes.
In his dreams.
People don't find either of these candidates empathetic. That's why their unfavorabilities are so high. That's why Bernie Sanders, who popped out of nowhere, is giving her a run for her money.
I think a lot of this, as it was 4 years ago, I think a lot of this is manufactured. I think a lot of those polls, it doesn't matter who they're favoring. I'm not, because you remember 4 years ago, he was done. Obama was done. Obama was done. They was like, he's out. He's never going to win. Goodbye. Good luck.
It's different
God
this time.
bless.
Yep.
It's different this
It's
time.
not. I don't think it's different. I think again, all of that was manufactured because they're looking at very specific places to make whoever's poll it is.
yeah.
Do what they wanted to.
Manipulate
The
it?
only way we're going to know who's going to win is when we know. And all I think everybody has to do is vote your heart, whoever your heart happens to be. Be prepared to and know that whoever it's going to be, you're going to have to back them. Whoever it is, or what, doesn't matter, Democrat, Independent, doesn't matter. Whoever it is, we as Americans are going to have to get behind them.
I agree. There is a
Whoever
level
gets
of
elected.
Whoever gets elected.
Yeah.
I mean, these last four polls, they've all been very similar. The most recent one, I know you don't like polls.
I don't care about the polls, mostly because I was going to go to break.
I know, but just let me say, I just want to say one thing that's really striking to me about the ABC News Washington Post poll that came out over the weekend. Of course, there's been like a 9-point swing. Trump's now in front. But the fact that we have the two most unpopular candidates, we have the highest unfavorability and unpopular ratings since the inception of this polling in 1984. And that does tell you something.
1984 should tell you
That tells
something.
you something.
It's not, this is how it's manufactured. I'm simply saying, the polls don't matter to you as an individual voter. You have to look at somebody's abilities and what they are able to do and make your decision. The polls, you can't trust them because, as we saw 4 years ago, they said, this is a referendum on the president. It wasn't a referendum. It was just, people trying to say, this is what's going to happen. We're going to push you. They figured out how to do it. Yeah, we're going to get out of here, but we're coming back because, that's what we do.
Brown Meltdown. The photo of singer Chris Brown's 2-year-old daughter that has him outraged. Later. So, secrets were revealed in Hot Topics.
My husband, he doesn't know. I guess he'll know now. But the minute he falls asleep, I start with the acne cream, and I wrap myself up, and I get up before he does, and I wash everything off.
Every day?
Every day for almost 20 years.
You've been living a lie, Sonny.
I'm so living a lie.
OMG! What would they say tomorrow on The View?
commercial break, we just learned that the Baltimore police officer Edward Nero has been acquitted of all charges in the death of Freddie Gray. This is, this sparks conversations all over the place, but I know that you know the mayor. Is she concerned about this?
I spoke to her this weekend. She was very concerned about how the public would react to this. I mean, they certainly have a plan in place.
Right.
But remember what happened the last time when he died, because there was rioting. People were very, very upset. And now we see another acquittal. This isn't the first, because there was, I think, a hung jury or a mistrial the first time around. I could be wrong. But now I think people will feel that they don't have justice. But I have said this from the very beginning as a prosecutor. The decision to charge all of these officers in this way was made very hastily. And I don't know. No, by the prosecutor, by the chief prosecutor.
But didn't she call for this? Wasn't this a joint effort?
No. No. In fact, the mayor did not know what the prosecutor's office was going to do. She found out at the same time that all of us found out, which is one of the reasons I think why the city wasn't as prepared as it could have been for some things that happened. So I think there was a breakdown in communication there. But when you look at it, as a prosecutor, you really have to make a well-reasoned decision in terms of how to charge someone. And it takes a long time to put together murder cases against 6 police officers.
And how long did she take, though, the prosecutor?
Less than 2 months. Yeah, less than 2 months. And so that's it's unusual. I've never seen it. I've never seen it.
Was the prosecutor thinking, okay, let me head this off at the pass?
Many people are, I don't know her personally, many people are saying that it was a political decision because we knew that people were rioting. She wanted to bring peace to the city, but that's not how you make prosecutorial decisions. And I don't want to throw her under the bus because I don't know her and I wasn't in the room when they were making the decisions, but I'll just say this, it is very unusual to bring charges against 6 different police officers in a murder case in that amount of time. I've never seen an investigation done that quickly. And now we have not one, but 2 officers that haven't been held accountable for this young man's death in police custody. I think people have a right to be outraged about that.
Well, yeah, but we also want to say that when you burn your own neighborhood down, you are the one who is without.
Yeah.
See?
I know.
When we burn, we're the ones who lose.
Yeah.
So maybe the thing to do is get really mad, protest, and move the process along so it works for us.
Yeah.
But even sometimes when it works for us, it doesn't work. So we'll see how this goes. But we're going to change the whole thing now, okay? Everybody get your lips up off the floor. Get those things, everybody sitting there like
We're so serious.
Because this is the world we live in, and this is going to happen, and we're going to have to deal with all of this. It's all tragic.
Yeah.
It's all. Doesn't matter who's on the other side of it. It's all tragic.
That's the
Nobody
problem with
wins.
my expertise. It's all death and destruction, right? So I always talk about sad things.
This is kind of much better than that. So another billionaire may join the race. Shark Tank's Mark Cuban says he's open to being either Clinton or Trump's vice president. Now, Hillary says she appreciates his openness to it because she'd consider having a business mogul as a running mate. And I say, how about Martine Rothblatt? She co-created Sirius Radio. Or Google founder Larry Page. There are a lot of great business people out there.
But Mark Cuban, I wonder if Trump thinks he's Latino because his name is Cuban. So that would eliminate him immediately.
I think this is smart. In some senses, it's smart strategy on Hillary's part because over the weekend, that's what she said, she'd be open to a businessman. What is Trump? He's a businessman. But what is the #1 issue amongst registered voters right now? And it's the economy. So, we've said this from the beginning, though. Do you have a businessman running this country with little political acumen or a politician with little business acumen? And I think she's actually sensing that she's tapping into something that the country's tapping into.
I'm sorry, I just want to say the economy is actually pretty good right now.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
It's still the number one reason of concern.
It may be voter concern for very specific people, but the economy 8 years ago was in the toilet.
That's right.
Okay, it was in the toilet. Everybody's 401ks were pooped. Okay? They were pooped. Now, folks' 401ks are back.
All-time low for unemployment.
Unemployment
People are working.
And still, still people are saying, I can't find what I need. Now, that's different than being mad about the economy. If you can't find what you need, that's a whole other conversation that we could be having.
I think, I've said this before. If Trump wants to run on his business record, he needs to let us see his tax returns.
Yes.
Because that would really tell you. No, seriously. I mean, look. I'm not used to the fact that he could be the president. I haven't accepted that yet. I just can't wrap my head around it.
Yes.
But let's say that could happen.
Yes.
Well, we need to see this. If you're serious, Donald, you've got to show us. What did you do? How much did you pay? How much charity did you contribute to? I want to know how many bankruptcies screwed up everybody, how many didn't, how many people did you actually employ, all that stuff. I want to see it. Everyone wants to see it.
People have a right to see it. It's a really interesting time in politics, though, because I think politicians have disappointed us so much that now you have everyone coming out, business people in the audience can turn around and say, you know what, I want to be president, and maybe you do a better job.
Actually, that used to be, remember, that used to actually be the reality. Anybody could be president. Not just business people, not just white people, not just men. Anybody in the United States of America can run for presidency. We'll be right back.
Still ahead, Celine steals the show. Her emotional performance that had the crowd bawling at the Billboard Music Awards last night.
This morning it came out that I'm executive producing, along with my partner, a new show called Strut about the world's first transgender modeling agency. It launches this fall on Oxygen, and we wanted to give you a sneak peek. Take a look.
Yeah.
So.
Good for you,
We've always been transgender models, but nobody knew it.
Yeah.
Well, this is true.
Yeah.
And that's why I always say you never know who you're talking to. You don't know. Transgender people have been with us a very, very, very long time. There have been makeup boxes, hair color boxes. You've seen some of the models on there. One of them was a transgender model who was outed by someone who was mad at her. So just know, that people always say God doesn't make mistakes. God doesn't make mistakes. Nature sometimes skips a beat and takes you to a different place, okay? So just know it's going to happen.
Well, congratulations, Whoopi.
Thank you.
This fall, it's done.
And they've been using the bathrooms next to all of us from the beginning of time. I just want to say very quickly, you had some of the models here at the View. They walked by, and I was like so filled with jealousy. I was like, who are those gorgeous women? I had no idea.
I had no idea they were
no idea
that they were transgender.
And interestingly, the young man that we have is a man, okay? He's a man. He looks like a man. So if, in fact, people are going to do what Caroline is asking them to do, which is to go to the bathrooms that they were born the gender of, what do you think is going to happen when he walks into the ladies' room?
I know.
Yeah.
So all the stuff that people are nervous about is what you're going to make happen.
Exactly.
So anyway, enough about me.
They need to
And let's talk about Chris Brown. Because over the weekend, my daughter was in at class, and on the baby's mama's Instagram page, that is crazy to him that a parent would okay. I ain't cool with that. She said, now, is he being overprotective? Because, I mean, I don't think little kids look that way, but
I didn't think it didn't the pose.
Yeah, well, she didn't look provocative to me because she's a 2-year-old. But I can understand that as a man, he sees what men see. And I know I struggle with that in our house. My husband doesn't want our daughter to wear leggings. He doesn't want, and she's 10, he doesn't want her to wear lip balm that gives a tint to her lips. And I was like, what is the big deal? And he said, I'm a man, you don't see what other men see. And I think we have to respect that as women and as mothers.
My husband
husband's the same way with lip gloss.
Yeah.
He doesn't want her to look older than she is. My daughter's 8. She's been asking to get her ears pierced. I said, you can get your ears pierced when you're ready for the responsibility. You know, your ears might get infected. You got to clean them every night. Mommy's not going to do that. So we've been talking about this for a couple of months. We even picked out the studs that she was going to get. And on the day of, my husband said, what are you doing? You can't take her to get her ears pierced. And he pulled her aside, and she was crying. She said, Daddy told me they're going to stick knives in my ears. That's when he lied to her. I had to tell her, no, that's not what happened.
Why did he want that?
He does not want her to appear older than she is. He's like, I want her to be my little girl. She's 8.
It's a time for kids to be kids, and it's different now. With social media being what it is, I think there's a hypersexualization of these little kids, and it's always little girls. You never really see it with little boys, but you see little girls in these costumes. You look at the pageants.
Yeah, but little boys are victimized also.
That's true, but you don't often see the images like this that you see of little girls, where all of a sudden these girls are wearing makeup. I mean, they're 15 years old, and it's a
That baby
baby.
didn't have any makeup on, by the
Yeah.
way.
No,
That baby
but
looks
sometimes-
like that. That baby's
She
fly.
looks like a baby.
She was at a dance class. You know, and that's how folks sit at dance class. But, you know, I understand. But, you know, what does he do if her lips are chapped? What is she supposed to do?
I know.
Chapstick.
Vaseline. Nothing with a tint.
I see nothing with
That's the rule in
color.
my home.
Well, me and my tinted lips will be right back.
Hey, what's happening, world? I'm Tip T.I. Harris. Stay right there where you got it, man. Hold what you got, don't go nowhere, because I'll be coming up next on The View.
Our next guest is a very busy man these days. He's a rapper, he's an actor. He just became a dad for the 7th time. He's released a brand new single, and he's helping to reboot one of the biggest TV events of all time, the epic miniseries Roots. Please welcome Tip T.J. Harris. T.I., sorry.
Okay, TJ.
I know it's T.I. because I did some...
Call me whatever you
Remember
want.
when I
It's okay.
danced with you, T.I.
Yeah,
and I
you
did a
love
little...
whatever you like, right?
Whatever you like. We did a little dance.
Yeah, we did a dance last time.
Yeah, do whatever you
She
like.
danced with me.
Yeah, I did.
It's okay. I won't tell nobody.
I humiliated
Just
myself.
did. I won't tell nobody.
And we just heard your new single, Dope.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
It's a metaphor.
There's nothing like a white girl saying,
You was a dope. This was perfect. I love it. Yes, Dope, produced by Dr. Dre, and, you know, we had the honor of paying tribute and honor to one of the greatest legends of our time in Aaliyah. So, also featured Marsha Ambrose. Just an honor and a pleasure to be able to work alongside such great people.
Yeah.
I like your shirt.
Thank
so,
you.
His shirt is dope, right?
Thank you.
It's dope, yeah.
You see, she's catching. She catching on.
I'm white, but you know. As Joy mentioned, you just welcomed your 7th child, a little girl named Eris, as an heir to the throne with your wife, Tiny. And I know both of you are musicians. You're both in the industry. So what do you guys sing to her? She's adorable, by the way.
Well, I just make songs up to sing, but I mostly play music.
Oh.
Yeah, she likes, we listen to Prince, Purple Rain,
Nice.
Isley Brothers, Al Green, just the greats.
You know, we were just talking about Chris Brown and how he was upset with his daughter at 2 years old and that what he thought was provocative outfit and pose. What do you think about that? Because you have a bunch of kids.
I mean, well, I know I'm in a room full of ladies, but I agree with Chris. I just simply because I'm a father. And as you said before, I think, you know, we see the world through the eyes of a man. And I don't think that anyone necessarily knows what that's like. And it's our job to protect our daughters from that type of perception.
There you go.
You know, we just...
And you expect the mothers to respect that.
I think it happens on the other side because when I deal with my sons and how they would like to deal with girls at an early age and how they feel about girls, their mothers have a fit. Those little girls ain't gonna trick my baby, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So it happens on both sides. It just, we have to respect and appreciate each other's efforts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why parenting is like it's a joint job.
Listen, I don't have any babies. I have grown kids, so.
Well, you got grandbabies.
Well, but you know what? I look at that and I say, I don't think the baby was laid out like that. I don't think she was being provocative. And for me, if we're going to teach our young men, 2 is not sexual. Two-year-olds is not sexual. So once you put it out there, once you say this is a sexual pose, you put in people's minds.
But many pedophiles and sickos.
We're not talking but you know what? Pedophiles will see sex in anything.
That's true. That's true.
So I'm just saying, if we don't push it to be something sexy, if we don't make it something sexy, because they don't know. They don't know about sex.
See, I don't think it's more so, at least from my opinion, it's not as much about the sexiness as a pedophile would see it, as, just kind of instilling that into the child early on, prematurely, before they're old enough. Like, a child shouldn't pick a sexy pose. Like, I don't think that a small child should, when they go and do those little poses.
Like the hand on the hip, something like that?
All that kind of just stuff. That's just, and my grandma used to say, that's just fast.
Yeah. Yeah. We shouldn't be raising fast kids. Used to be that pose was just
fast, right?
What you're doing, sitting on the floor doing stuff. It's crazy.
Every man around here saying go. Yep.
Yes. Okay. So you are playing a slave called Cyrus in the new remake of Roots.
Runaway. Runaway slave.
Runaway slave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Alex Haley's original was truly groundbreaking. Why did they make another one?
Series of all times. I don't think this generation has had an opportunity to experience it and take it in properly.
You're right.
And I've seen it. I've been involved with this Rouge project, and I actually went to Louisiana on the set and saw the series. It's such an incredible remake. It's such an incredible cast. You're in it, Forrest Whitaker, Anika Noni Rose, Lawrence Fishburne, Mekhi Phifer, and the newcomer who is playing Kunta Kinte, Malachi Kirby, is absolutely phenomenal. I hope everyone will see this. And, of course, LeVar Burton was involved in it as well. Tell us I know what surprised, it's ridiculous. What will surprise people about this remake?
Well, to me, I think that it's much more introspective in the sense of we get a lot more pre-slavery information, the way the lives of the people were. Like, to hear Kunta Kinte, as we spoke about at a sit-in on a panel, to hear Kunta Kinte say that he wanted to study in Timbuktu among the world's greatest minds, that's something that people never thought about.
It's a great story then. It's a great story today. No matter. Okay, so our thanks to T.I. Harris. His new single, Dope, is available everywhere. And you can see him in the miniseries starting May 30th on History Channel. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, it's Stacy. You ready for summer? Well, we partnered with vendors to get you the best deals on summer goods. Coming up next on Use Your Deal.
So you know the women of The View can talk the talk.
Because that's what we do.
But did you know they can sing?
Hello?
This Wednesday, it's The View's epic karaoke takeover. And just look who's coming to our house. With so many surprise guests, we can't even. Plus, performances from Candace, Raven, Michelle, and Whoopi. You'll stand up and cheer. You just can't miss The View, Wednesday on ABC.
I don't know. It was kind of wild.
Today?
Yeah, I think so.
In what way?
I think it was wild because we were trying to figure out if we really just needed a break from all of the politics and stuff. So maybe we have to just smile more and have more fun. What do you think?
I think I'm up for that.
Yeah. Or we could just say that we want you to have a great day. We want you to take a little time to enjoy whatever view you happen upon and laugh with a friend if you get the opportunity.
Well, we're laughing anyway.